Olá, olá, todo mundo. Eu vou começar aqui falando em português, enquanto o Al não entende nada, mas só para dizer bem-vindos a essa live que a gente está fazendo aqui sobre a carreira de geoprocessamento e o ensino de geoprocessamento nos Estados Unidos. E agora eu vou mudar para o inglês, porque senão é sacanagem com o nosso convidado. So I just said hi to everyone and explained a bit about the live. And what I would like to do first is could you please introduce yourself and tell us about what you do? Basically, a short bio of yourself, because they already know that you studied GIS, did
Mhm.
the MSc, and you work with that.
All right. So, hello, everybody. I am Abdurrahman Alsanad. I go by Al. I graduated from SU with a bachelor's in science in Geographic Information Systems, and I recently graduated in Master of Advanced Studies in Geographic Information Systems as well. I started working with ASU in 2019 as an intern, actually. It wasn't paid. It was during the summer. My supervisor liked my job and how hard I was working. So she decided to hire me for her department, which is the Knowledge Exchange for Resilience. After that, I went back to my home country, Kuwait, because I graduated, I couldn't work anymore. And the pandemic hit, right? So the only option I had to apply for a master's degree was ASU again. So I did that, came back here, and for my shock, my manager and my supervisor wanted to hire me back again. So I accepted it immediately because I needed the job here. So I stayed with them, worked for the whole year during my master's degree. And after that, I applied for an OPT, which is an optional practical training, which gives you the authorization to work in the US for a whole year, legally, of course. And
Important to highlight
again,
that part.
yes, all right.
Oh, before
So
you continue, I forgot to ask, is the audio okay? I think it is because nobody has complained, but
okay.
I guess they can hear us. Well, if you can hear us, just say. But yeah, just go ahead, please.
All right. So for the OPT, the optional practical training, I've been applying for multiple companies here, and the market here is really competitive. All right. So sometimes they will reply too late. Sometimes they reply with some more like documents. And mostly because I'm an international student here, they think that I will need a sponsorship to get a work visa. So that's make it a little bit difficult for me. So my last option was again knowledge exchange for resilience, where my manager wanted me again. So I went to her, and when I applied for this one, this time I didn't even have to apply actually. They just rehired me immediately,
Well, it's
right?
important, like that shows the importance of doing the job well when you're doing it, because you never know how it will play a role in your future. And in your case, it was really pretty important.
Exactly. Right. So I took the job and I'm still working with them, and I'll be working with them until September 2022.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that was like an overview. Guys, if you have any questions, you can send it on the chat and I will translate it to him. Or if you want to send it in English, that's totally fine as well. But I think we should start kind of from the beginning of all of this. So,
Okay.
well, how and why did you decide to study GIS as your undergrad? And like, why the US? Why ASU? You could have studied like anywhere in the world. Like, why not Brazil, for example?
Okay. So to be honest, GIS wasn't on my plan of study at all when I first started. Like when I was young, I wanted to be a pilot, and life happens, as you know. So growing up, I changed in my mind, wanted to be an engineer and other jobs. I'm not yeah, an engineer, a doctor, a dentist. All these jobs came to my mind. So, but then life happens again, and you change your mind. So when I was enrolled in Kuwait University, I graduated from high school in 2010, the first time. So I went to Kuwait University, was applying abroad. I actually applied to China even. right? China, UK, Australia, and other countries. I got accepted, but then life happens again, and I couldn't go there because I didn't get scholarship, didn't get sponsorship from anybody. So I postponed that, dropped from Kuwait University, re-enrolled in high school again to increase my GPA or my percentage to get a scholarship from the government. So I got that. Once I got that, I came to the US as an English student for a whole year in 2015. Then I had to apply. When you apply for the scholarship from the beginning, you'll have to choose majors, what majors you'd like to go for.
Yes.
So one of them was GIS, and I knew GIS back in Kuwait University because I was working in a team of a GIS doctor who specializes in remote sensing. And I liked their work, actually. And I had like multiple of my friends who graduated in GIS from Kuwait University. So that was a familiar field for me. Other fields were not. So that was my first choice. So I went to that, and I got the scholarship based on the GIS. But when I finished my English year, I've been talking to my advisor from my sponsorship, and I was telling them like, hey, I want to change my major. Is that possible? They said, yes, that's possible. Just change your major in the university after you enroll in it. Then let us know, and we will change it based on the scholarship. I said, okay. So I came to ASU. I wanted to change from GIS to electrical engineering. All right. I went to the Fulton School, which is the engineering school at ASU. I went there. I talked to them. They said, all right, you'll have to increase your GPA to 2.75 maybe. I said, okay, that's okay. Since this is my first year, it's easy to do it, as you know, because I'm starting from zero. So I did that, went back to them again. And then they said, oh, no, you'll need a 3.0 GPA to transfer. I said, but I have the emails. I showed them the emails. Well, that was a mistake. They have a typo in the email. It was supposed to be 3. So I decided to, okay, I'm sticking with my major. Let's see how this goes. And I took my first classes. I remember Professor Ryan Fraser. You probably didn't meet him.
No, I don't
didn't
think
meet him because he left in 2017 or 2018 maybe before you came to
Yeah,
ASU.
I arrived in 2019.
Yeah, so he already left. So when I took the class with him, he made me love GIS, not just like it. You know, so I stuck with GIS. I did my best at it, and I am where I am today.
That's kind of interesting that you said, because like it seems like our stories are kind of pretty opposite when it comes to GIS, because
Yeah.
I always wanted to work with maps, and I knew that before I got to uni. So GIS was a clear path, but my GIS teacher made me hate it. Like I really despised the GIS classes. Like they were the worst. I really hated it. While for you, it was the other way around. You tried to push it away at any cost, but you ended up loving it.
It keeps coming back to me, so yeah.
But I must say, GIS much cooler than engineering.
For me, yeah.
Yeah, for
I
me
see
too.
that. Yeah. I see that now. I have a lot of like friends who are like studying engineering. Actually, they graduated. Some of them still. This is the last semester for them. They are all on scholarship from Kuwait, and they are struggling actually.
Well,
they
yeah.
don't even like it. Why are you studying it if you don't like it?
Because people usually study to get a job, not always when they like it. I don't know. I mean, we're lucky enough that we picked something we really like. So.
Yes.
But another interesting thing that comes to mind is that, like, I don't know if it's clear to everyone, but he finished high school in Kuwait, in his country, but his GPA, which is like his global average, was not high enough to get a scholarship from the government. So, and he didn't give up. He went back to high school to get a higher GPA to then go to uni. And like that shows really how it's important to persevere and keep trying when you really want something. And like really kudos to you on that, because I don't know if I would face high school again, because that was a nightmare. But all right. So how was the process of selecting the university? Because like you picked the ASU, but you could have picked, I don't know, South Dakota University, Colorado, and Boulder.
Yes, that's true. So I applied to multiple universities. The ones that come to my mind is University of California in Santa Barbara. Another
Oh,
university
great
is,
campus.
yes. Another university was San Diego State University, Arizona State University, and I believe I applied to North Carolina, Chapel Hill, because they have a
Mm-hmm.
really great GIS major program over there. So UCSB, University of California,
For
Santa
Santa
Barbara,
Barbara, yeah.
yes. So they didn't reply at all.
Uh,
And SDSU, San Diego State University, they replied, but they wanted my official high school transcripts, which should be sent from my high school in Kuwait
in English, of course.
in English.
Yeah.
And the it should be sealed
Mm-hmm.
with the signature of the
Yeah.
high school, and I was like, they don't do that in Kuwait.
They don't do that in Brazil, and it's a problem for a lot of international students because they want the things to be done in a certain way that we don't do.
Mm-hmm. So didn't do that. It took too long because I talked to my advisor as well. So told her the story that they are asking for a high school diploma official transcripts from Kuwait. Can you do that? She said, no, I can't. But at the same time, some of my friends who applied to SDSU, the advisor sent their transcripts and they accepted them. So I didn't know how did that work, but so Chapel Hill in North Carolina, they didn't reply to me. I don't remember them replying to me.
Yeah.
So the only one left, and that's funny because once I booked my ticket, it was one way back to Kuwait until I get an admission to a university. After I arrived to Kuwait in 2 days, ASU accepted me. And while I applied for the fall semester, they accepted me for the spring. So that was in a month.
Yes.
I was like, maybe I should take it. I'm already like wasted like 4 years of my time, right? So I went to it, and yeah, that's how I chose ASU. And I already know a lot of people at ASU. I know it's a good university since 2002, I believe, when President Michael Crow took over ASU. He changed it. It was a party school back in the days, if you don't know.
No, I didn't.
It was known as a party school. It was a Plan B university for the students.
I mean, I can understand how it's seen as a party school, consider the year I lived there. There are still quite a lot of parties.
It was
in the
way
frat
more
houses.
than that.
They're real. Like, the frat houses you see in movies? There's this avenue, you go to the campus where you see there these big houses with Sigma, Delta, whatever. Like, they're real. It's not only on the movies.
But
we didn't live there.
But no, never. So yeah, but it was a huge difference between 2002 and like 2019.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, and it's the number one in innovation. It's been for the number one for 6 years, 7 years in a row now.
Yeah.
Or 4 years, something like this.
And they have my good child at the SGSU.
Yes.
Come on, he's famous in the GIS remote sensing world. He's like the guy. He was in Santa Barbara, University of California, Santa Barbara before, and then he moved into ASU.
He was one of my, during my capstone project, he was one of the
supervisors?
Faculty, not supervisor. He was asking me questions during the presentation.
Examiners.
Examiner, exactly. So he was one of them.
That's one.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
Okay, it's just like my good child sitting in my capstone, like the
that's it. Yeah.
No big deal. Like the guy just pretty much one of the fathers of GIS. Whatever. Yeah. Well. Yeah. So, what kind of modules did you have when you were at the ASU that you think that really made a difference for you to become a good GIS professional?
What do you mean with modules?
Classes.
Classes.
Yeah, classes. Pardon my British English.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. Anyways, so for classes, well, mostly there were the GIS classes. So I didn't take an introduction because I was majored in GIS.
Yeah.
But well, at the beginning, but then they updated the major map, so I had to take it. So I took it, but I didn't get anything from it because I already knew everything. So I aced it. All right. Some cartography classes, some data analysis classes.
Did you have coding classes?
Yes, I did have it. I did have coding classes.
That's a key difference. Well, I don't know now. Apparently, it's changing in Brazil. But like in my degree, well, we're about the same age. But I did my degree like a couple years before you in Brazil. So in my degree, I didn't have any coding classes.
Oh no! Here I had to take based on on the old major map, I had to take about 5 coding classes.
Good.
Right. I remember 2 were Java. 1 was Python. 1 had C, C++, Prolog, and Schematic, which I barely passed because 4 languages in the same semester is not easy.
Piece of cake.
That. Yeah, really?
Piece of cake.
Okay. All right. So
come on, once you know one is not that bad. You can always say this in Python, same function in like whatever.
But still, it depends on the instructor.
Well, I would rather not get into names here.
We're not naming. We're just saying it based on the instructor who's teaching.
Yeah, true.
Programming language. So.
Instructor can make it really easy and fun, or really terrible and just like I hate it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, in the updated major map, I think you have to take only 2 or 3 programming classes, and they are all in Python because with GIS you use Python.
Python rules.
Yes, exactly. Also, we did take not just programming; we also took statistics classes.
Oh yeah, of course.
For using RStudio, I think you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
I think you're a professional at it. So we used RStudio. I used it only once. I forgot about it. All right. We had some optimization classes.
Yep.
All right. So
which is funny because
optimization, it uses both GIS and coding and statistics.
No, I know, but like usually you learn optimization once you really know coding well, because it's the whole point. But it's good that you get the basis of it before you even really know coding that well, I guess.
Exactly. So I was struggling a little bit in those classes.
I can imagine.
Because during my bachelor's, I hated programming.
And now life just throws it in your face.
Now I want to learn because I need it for my job. So
okay, could you please repeat that? You want to learn because?
Okay, all right. So back in my bachelor's, I hated coding. Right, but now I need to learn. I want to learn coding because that's essential to my job as a GIS analyst or as any GIS position.
Yeah.
You need coding because sometimes you will need to work with large data sets, and using the data sets in a GIS software might take a really long time to process what are you doing. But by coding or using SQL, you've used SQL before, right? Or using SQL?
I don't think so.
So SQL is another way to manage the database.
I don't think I use it. Oh, SQL?
Yes.
Yes.
It's called SQL. All right.
No, it's SQL.
No, it's called SQL. All right. Anyways, so for those, they may make your life easier when dealing with the huge datasets.
Yes.
So I needed to learn that. So I aced my Python or programming class in my master's degree.
Finally decided to do it, right?
Yeah, but now I forgot everything because I'm not using it.
So
now I forgot it.
Here I will use this example to highlight that learning how to code is not enough, people. You must practice every day if you can. Otherwise, you will forget. To be honest, nowadays, sometimes I have to stop coding in Python, for example, and code in R. You know that because, well, we are friends, so you know a bit about my research. And you know that often I work with ecologists and they really use R in RStudio.
Mhm.
And in that case, I need to migrate. And then like I spend a month or two working in RStudio. And then when I go back to Python, like I need to kind of remember the syntax, and it just
Yeah,
becomes really messy too. But
exactly.
I know that Iago said, someone in the chat, Iago said, the first challenge is to learn the correct pronunciation of SQL, SQL.
Yeah, SQL.
It's the first challenge.
So yeah,
Actually, SQL, it's a structured query language. I never heard anyone calling it SQL. It was always like
well,
SQL.
it's SQL in the US.
Well,
You lived for a
Americans don't
year in the
really.
US. You lived for a year in the US.
But I lived for 6 in the UK, so original English. But let's not get into that.
We're
Uh,
not getting into that. Anyways.
no, a Brazilian supporting like British English, and a guy from Kuwait supporting American English. Anyway, so I know that
Okay.
you started working as was a GIS technician at Knowledge Exchange at ASU, right?
So at the beginning, no, I was an intern.
Okay.
Right. So I did take an internship with Youth Mappers and USAID.
Tell
During
people
the
what
summer.
is youth mappers, because I think we have a few chapters in Brazil, including one called it's managed by Meninas da GEL, really nice group with like girls working with coding skills and everything, with Professor Tatiana Pará. It's a really cool group. If you guys don't know, just go check their Instagram. But I think most people probably don't know what youth mappers is, so if you could explain, please.
Okay, so Youth Mappers is a non-profit organization, focuses on humanitarian cases around the world, like food securities. I can't remember the word in English. So flooding, it's called disasters, natural disasters.
Disaster management and prevention.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking about.
Yes.
So mostly focuses on that, and it consists of like university I forgot the word. I can't pronounce the word. All right. So it's about university students, faculty, mostly volunteers.
Yes.
All right. And they have these chapters around the world actually now.
Which are groups, right?
Which are groups, clubs actually.
Yeah.
At the universities. Right. So those chapters, they focus either on local problems or they collaborate with other chapters around the world to help them map an area for study.
Yes.
All right. So one of the chapters is our chapter at ASU, which I co-founded it.
Yeah.
In 2019. And we did work on, let's see, in the Philippines for food securities and flooding.
Yes.
We worked locally in a city called Mesa here. It was about mobile homes and trailers, so RVs,
yes,
and indoor deaths. Right. Currently, we are working on mapping buildings and roads in sub-Saharan Africa, like Sierra Leone, Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria. And this mapping is going to be used for electricity access.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So those are like most of the important things we've done as a chapter at ASU, because there has been a year with no work, no attendees, and it was 2020. You know that.
Yeah, I was there. But also, like, as a summary, I would say that Youth Mappers is basically like this. It's made of like multiple groups across like the globe. It's a non-profit that aims to provide GIS and mapping support infrastructure to countries and places that would otherwise maybe not have the budget or technology or personal to work on these GIS projects. So on one side, you have these like local authorities like getting the or like groups, NGOs getting the spatial information they need, which is like great. You're doing something nice, cool, and relevant. And on the other side, you have students actually getting hands-on experience without having to leave the university for that. Because I think that played a quite important role in terms of giving you some experience for when you actually got promoted to a GIS technician, no?
Exactly.
So yeah.
From this internship, the internship was really focusing on the Philippines flooding and food security, right?
Yes.
So we had to do that. During that internship, we had some workshops for using some other tools to help map. And when we map, we use OpenStreetMaps.
Yes.
If you ever heard about it.
Yeah, OSM.
Exactly. So OSM is an open source. It's like a map Wikipedia or data Wikipedia for everybody. It's open source. Everybody can use it. Anybody could go in and digitize, add data from themselves.
Yes.
You know, especially local, because we can't, like, for example, I'm in the US. I can't be mapping in Brazil and, for example, naming a building, how floors it has, or I know there's a shop over there. I can't do that because I've never been there. But a local person in Brazil can go in and validate the data, then add some more information about it. And that's how we enrich the data. And the good thing, as I told you, is open to everybody.
And you can answer that one. How do you open a chapter? Because I don't know, like, by heart, how many chapters we have in Brazil. I might make a big mistake here. I think it's 3, but that might be completely wrong. But it would be cool if you could tell people how to open it, because maybe some student will be here, will listen about it, and it might be an opportunity for them to open and get some hands-on experience before they graduate.
Okay, so to open a chapter, actually, you could go to their website, which is, should I write it here for you?
No, it's fine. We can leave in the description after. You can just send me and I will leave in the description.
All right, so the website is youthmappers.org, all right? And there's an option in the menu above. You can see it says participate, then, or in chapters, I believe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But there is start a chapter at your university. So you could do that. Then there's a form you have to complete, contact information. Why I think there are some questions in the form, as usual, because it's a form. So do you complete that, then they will get back to you. They will complete the process with you, and also you'll have to talk to an advisor at your university.
Yeah.
So they are a faculty person, a professor, a researcher at the university, and talk to them, tell them we want to start a club or a chapter for youth mappers. Here, would you be an advisor for us? Because every chapter needs an advisor. So
yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to let people know, because who knows, maybe we'll have more chapters and more data in Brazil.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I think we talked a bit already about your education, and people are really keen to know about the GIS market, for job market in the US.
In the US?
Yes. So what can you tell us about that?
All right. So for the job market in the US, it's kind of competitive, actually.
I can imagine. Well, I was there. I can really imagine.
Yes, exactly. So to land a job in the US, especially in the GIS market, so you will need a lot of experience. You need skills. And so basically a degree by itself won't do anything here in the US.
Nope.
So you'll need to build up your professional reputation.
And your portfolio.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So with the skills, internships, even if you got non-paid internships, at least you're getting the experience out of it.
Yes. I didn't pay the internships before my master degree. I keep telling people, I know it's not ideal, and of course you don't want to work for free, but at the same time you're learning, and if it's the option you have, you better do it now than do it when you're 30.
Exactly.
So
internships, jobs that pay you the minimum wage, even for a short period of time, like 6 months maybe, or like 3 months. At least you're doing
Freelancers
something
as well.
Exactly. So that really helps you in laying a job in the US.
And I was checking some like GIS jobs, and
Mhm.
some of them it's already a trend in US, particularly for the positions that are like not at the junior level. They're
Mhm.
already asking like coding skills and like data science, data analytics,
Exactly.
statistics. So I think it's something to keep looking at, because
Yes.
you will need it, not only in the US, but
Mhm.
in Brazil. I post every day on my Instagram, almost every day, like positions where they are asking for like coding skills, like GIS positions.
Yes.
So, and I think it's understandable, because if you think about it, in the last maybe 10 to 15 years, the amount and the volume of data we produce as a society, it more than double folded. Like, it's crazy, it's insane, it's unprecedented. So you need tools to deal with all that data that's also spatial data, and like the software itself alone might not cut it. So
Not
you
at
need,
all.
yeah.
You know, I've been going out of my way during my job actually to find some other solutions or easier solutions for the problem I'm having.
Yes.
And also, not just that, like for example, I'm professional at using ArcGIS, so
Yeah.
Esri GIS softwares. I'm professional at that. I know them like with my eyes closed, right? But recently, I had to change from ArcGIS to using Quantum GIS, which is QGIS, which is an open source.
Much better.
Okay?
Esri will like fire. Will you sue me now?
It's not about being much better or not. I know it's like more user friendly, but
I
for
wouldn't
like
say it's more user friendly. I think they are both equally user friendly. I think the main key is that, for example, a tiny city in Brazil, in the countryside, they're like their local authority. They don't have the money to pay for like
exactly,
ArcGIS licenses. It's a lot for their budget, to not say the price.
that's why like many companies use QGIS.
Yes.
And that's why I had to change, because we are working in sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
And they don't have the budget for ArcGIS. So I had to change from using ArcGIS to using QGIS. And I had to learn the interface of QGIS again. Although I don't know everything in it for now, but still.
But I bet that like it was easier for you because you knew what you were doing in ArcGIS. You were not just pushing buttons. Because the problem is like when you're in ArcGIS, just pushing buttons, and then you have to move to QGIS or coding or any other software.
You'll be lost.
Yeah, because like it's basically I didn't know what I was doing. I was pushing buttons, and now I don't know where the buttons are.
Exactly. So this happens to me, like especially in finding the tools.
Yeah.
You know, so I know there's a toolbox. I go to the search, I type in the tool name because the naming is different than ArcGIS. So I have to figure out the name of the new tool in QGIS. Sometimes it's not even there. It's a plugin you'll have to install.
But Google helps.
And Google helps.
Google
really
helps. If you
really
know the theory behind it, you should be eventually fine once you get acquainted.
Yes. Now it's okay. Now I even started like creating models like.
Are you using Python for that? Because I know if you don't know, you can use Python to create QGIS modules.
No, I'm not using Python, to be honest. It's models using the same tools they have because they already have script for Python. So why not?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. You're using a shortcut there for now.
Exactly. For now.
For now.
There is one tool that I might have to use Python for it because it's not working as a model at all.
Yeah.
So I'll have to recreate that in Python.
Good luck.
I could get the tools script, add them to Python, then edit it to make it work. So
it will eventually work, and if it doesn't work, you have this really cool Brazilian friend that might know a little one or two things about Python, so she might be able to help if you ask very nicely and send a slice of cheesecake in return.
Oh, well, they don't have cheesecake in Poland.
No, they do, but it's not Cheesecake Factory. Anyway,
Okay.
so a lot of people asked about remote work in the US and if it's possible to, for example, if I'm living in Brazil, can I work for a US tech company or GIS company like remotely and be paid in dollars?
Okay, so let's see. So I think it's possible. There are a lot of companies who are offering remote jobs, but I'm not sure if it's possible for internationals who are not in the US, because to
Visa.
receive a salary from the US, you'll need to have a social security number.
Yes, and it's a
For tax
pain to get
purposes.
it. I can tell you, I had to get it, and
Yes.
it's worse than our CPF because it's literally a piece of paper. It's
Of
not
paper.
even plastic.
No.
And I have to
It's
keep
paper.
that for the rest of my life if I ever step foot in the US again. And you too.
And if you lose it, there will be an investigation.
Yes.
Why you lost it? Where did you lose it? And
because I'm clumsy, mate. About that, also, while like getting a full-time job in the US as a GIS analyst can be quite tricky because of like visa restrictions and other things.
Yes.
Often you're able to work as a consultant for many companies, many companies as like a company. So not like a person as an entity, but the company itself. And if you don't have a company, sometimes you can just work as a consultant. And there is a website that's pretty good for it. It's called Upwork. It's UPWORK. So I checked that website today before our live, and I saw at least, I don't know, more than 15 like consultancy jobs for GIS analysts with Python, without Python. So it's usually a freelance style, but it's a way to start, and they're paid in dollars. However, for some of them, only US nationals can apply. For others, is international, so you need to pay attention to that.
If you are looking for jobs in the US, you could use LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, US.
I believe everybody know it. They really like it in the US.
Yeah, US loves it.
You can use Indeed.com. I just sent it. This one.
Yeah.
You can find really good GIS jobs.
Some companies, as far as I know, like some companies will actually be willing to sponsor your visa if they can, but not for junior positions. They rarely will sponsor junior positions because the cost is not worth it for them. But if you're looking for like a mid or senior position, then you're more likely to find a company that will sponsor your visa. But you need to be really good so that they feel like they will not hire a US citizen and sponsor your visa. But there is a chance.
And if you are looking for a sponsorship from the US, I would advise you to go towards working at universities.
Much easier.
And they're like cap exempt.
And also they are used to doing it all the time.
Yes.
Because with postdocs, they have to do it. Like I had ASU, Arizona State University, was my visa sponsor for the year I was there doing my postdoc. So it's the same. They are used with all the documents. They have the permission to be sponsored. So looking for this kind of GIS jobs in the institutions, it's easier to deal with the visa kind of issue, let's say. And you can get positions in universities as like postdocs, but also in the US, the concept of university goes a bit further than what we're used in Brazil, in a way that the university is also expected to produce something in terms of like patents, and that's really taken very seriously, at least at ASU. So I remember we had, at the time, we had a GIS technician, a GIS manager, a GIS coordinator. So just by that, we're talking about 3 or 4 different jobs. So these opportunities do exist.
Yes, they do exist. And for positions, there are a lot of GIS positions. From technician, there are levels for it. Then there's the analyst. Also, there are levels for it. GIS manager, project manager. There's GIS specialist. And the list goes on.
Yeah.
So
you are a GIS analyst now, right?
Now, yes, I'm a GIS analyst.
What did change the most from being a GIS technician to a GIS analyst, other than the title and the money in your pocket?
So the amount of work changed. I'm getting access to more like advanced work.
Well, I bet it doesn't change by decreasing.
Exactly. So more work,
More responsibilities, probably.
more responsibilities. Exactly. And I've been trying to talk my manager into hiring a new undergrad GIS student.
Okay.
So I could give him some of the load I have. I'll give them like sometimes it's like tiring and time consuming. For example, like currently I'm working on digitizing, and digitizing is really time consuming. All right.
Yeah.
So
it's what we call an undergrad's job in the US, in the UK.
Yes, but the thing is, I'm digitizing slums.
Okay.
In sub-Saharan Africa. So slums have been changed. The most recent data we have is from 2014. From 2014. So some of the slums shrunk, some of the slums expanded, some of the slums have been gentrified, So I have to be really detailed in digitizing these slums. You see, so it's really time consuming. And
it's not my favorite task.
It's not fun. That's why I need an undergrad student to do this job for me. See?
But to be fair, sometimes it will take you. It really depends on how much you need to digitize those. Like what is the load? Because sometimes it will take you as much or more time to train someone to do it.
True, but digitizing is not that hard to train someone on. Just click this button, and start tracing. That's it. You're not doing anything else.
Some people would say otherwise, but let's agree to disagree.
Well, if they are GIS students.
Yeah, that's the difference. The degree there is the GIS degree. So that's the difference.
That's the difference.
Because really, sometimes the students will find it difficult to understand, because some students have the difficulty to deal with the software, to be fair.
Yes.
And that can be scary for them, and they don't want to do it. But I guess those students will not look for an internship. Well, we kind of have been talking for 43 minutes now.
Okay.
So I would ask people, if you have questions, just send it in the chat, that I will ask that after my last question, the last question I have here for you, which is basically, let's say if you were to hire someone now to work as a GIS junior analyst, what skills would you expect from them? What would you like to see on their CV?
Well, absolutely must have experience in GIS software, both ArcGIS and QGIS.
Okay.
This is the first thing gonna be on the
expected.
All right. I need to see some experience, real life experience.
Like portfolio.
Yes, I need an experience. I need to see what they've done with their degree, because the degree itself won't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I need to see your experience, your skills, your what else? It's like, show me that you are worth taking the job. Sell yourself to me. So impress me. That's how they say it. I want you to impress me. So when I look at your resume, I say, oh, this is impressing. I'm considering this for an interview.
Yeah.
Because once you get to the interview part, you are one of few people who were selected.
Yes.
You see, so that's what I want to see. Coding, probably a little bit, at least experience.
Or willing to learn.
Willing to learn. Showing the will to learn something, that's really good things for hiring managers.
That's how I landed my PhD position. I didn't know how to code yet, but I said, I don't know how to code yet, but I really want to learn, and that was enough.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they are looking for. They are looking for initiative.
Yeah,
to do
that
something.
leadership
They don't
skills,
want-
as they like to say in the US, leadership skills.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, like nobody wants to hire a lazy person.
I think
No.
worse than being lazy is already bad in that context, but
Mhm.
being that person that, you know, your boss has always to tell you what to do all the time and
Oh,
push you,
yes.
like, they really,
Yes, they
especially in the US, they
some-
really hate it. They don't
they want
tolerate it.
self-starters.
Yes.
You know, they want someone who would go to the manager and say, "Hey, I thought about something. You said this thing yesterday, but today I thought about another way. Can I do it?" Just asking for permission, not asking what to do.
Solution makers.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
self-started solution makers, something that you come up with. Like, for example, I remember I did this actually in last year, actually, while creating the models, but not in QGIS, in ArcGIS.
Yes.
Right. So it's the process of designing something, and designing it manually will take a really long time, from like 8 to 12 hours to do it manually, because you're
Yeah.
digitizing points, lines, and some other lines, smaller lines. Right. So this really takes a long time. So I decided, I know I could do this, like I can make it automated instead of doing it manually, using models, tools from ArcGIS. And I could cut the time from 12 hours to maybe 10 minutes or less, 5 minutes maybe. I did it. They liked it.
Well, if you're
So,
saving time, you are saving money, and that's another thing that they really love in
Exactly.
the US.
Exactly. And that's how you make everybody loves you at work.
Yeah. In work a
Experience.
lot, because the
So
working
experience. You
prove
need
the experience.
Yes.
And
You need experience.
important to say
So-
here that when we say experience, it's not that you had 13 jobs before this one, but that you can prove that you know how to use GIS with a portfolio or with projects that you participated in university. So you just, the problem I find with like a lot of students is that when you get their transcript, you see that they just went through university. You know,
Yes.
they took their modules, their classes, and that's it. They didn't do anything else. And I know
Yes.
in some cases, let's be fair here, we have students, particularly in Brazil, that like work half periods to then
Yes.
be able to do the university and pay the bills that they have. Some students
Yes.
have children as well. And of course, that everything, those circumstances should be accounted for. The market in Brazil in that sense has been shifting, but there is a lot to be done still. But if you're one of the lucky ones that can take these extra activities, please do it, because it will make a real difference when you apply for a job if you know how to showcase yourself as a like success in like GIS.
Exactly. And one more advice is to like widen your network,
Yeah.
your connections with the professional people. Try to reach out for some professors around the world, not just the professors in your university. Make your professors like introduce you to their colleagues from like other universities in the country and in other countries as well.
Yes.
That would really help you in the future to land a job.
Yeah, but that's what I keep telling like everyone that asks me, oh, how do I get like a postdoc or a PhD or a master degree at this institution or abroad? It's like, well, if you haven't done it yet, like I always say, send an email to at least 10 different people around the world. If you're lucky, it's likely that at least one will reply to you, and then you go from there. Because people find very perhaps scary, but also intimidating and weird, the idea of like, oh, will I just email random strangers? As an academic, I can tell you, we get emails from strangers all the time. And
You'll have to do it.
yeah, it's normal. It's kind of expected as part of the job, because you have like candidates that will come to you. So someone will reply to you if you really write a nice email introducing yourself, how you get to know this person. Okay. Do you have any like final thoughts, comments, anything you would like to say to people that you think it's important about the US market, other than use LinkedIn, proven experience with projects and previous jobs?
Well, I'm almost said everything about the US, because those are the really things that like US people care about.
Yes, that's
You
true.
know, they look for those things. And once hopefully you got a job in the US and started working. Show them that you are like really working hard, but working smart at the same time.
Yeah.
So you don't want to tire yourself, but you want to finish what you have. So they do, oh yeah, they deserve this job. They deserve a raise or a promotion or maybe a trip to somewhere else. You never know. It happens here. So
That's very true. Like, the US culture is kind of workaholic-ish.
yes.
Yes, so if you have the dream to go to the US, that's cool. It's not the dream of my life. I don't want to end up there. I lived there for a year. It was a great year because my boss and my colleagues were amazing. I would go back to work with one researcher that is there that I like very much, but other than that, it's not in my plans because they are real workaholics.
They are.
There is
But
no
actually,
such a thing as work-life balance.
see, sometimes when you get like higher in the position, you get like to boss people around
Yeah,
and they do
true.
all the job for you, right?
You're
But you
sounding
still
like a
have
lazy person.
but you still have, let me continue at least. Don't judge me. Don't be judgy. All right. So once like you have like to give them the task to do it for you, but most of the communications and the stressful work is on you.
Yes.
You know, like I can see my manager, like she's given us the task to do the project, right? But then the communications, the negotiations, and everything else she does her week, like starting in the morning, ending in the afternoon, it's all meetings, just meetings, you know? So that's stressful.
Yeah, it
You're
is.
trying to, yes. So even though you
Managing
have
people
less,
is stressful.
yeah,
I don't like it.
exactly. But some people love it.
Yeah, the bossing around is nice. The managing, not so nice, but most of the work.
Yes.
And as you grow in your academic career and even like other careers, it's likely that you end up managing more people. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But what I can say now is thank you very much for accepting my invitation. It was great to have you.
Absolutely.
I'm sure a lot of people got different tips on like what to do if they want to go to the US and how it works and how is the work culture there. And I think that's it for today. And bye, guys. Thanks for staying with us during our live.
Bye. Thank you.